Happy New Year, everyone! We've made it through a turbulent 2022, and now it's time to take a review of the Metro-Birmingham Real Estate Market in December, the third quarter, and the whole year of 2022. There's a lot to talk about over the next 10 minutes, so let's dive right in and get started. In my 18 years of selling real estate, I have to say that 2022 was the craziest year that I've worked through. In the course of 12 months, the market went from busier than normal to absolutely frantic with buyers trying to buy anything and everything, then slowing down, and then finally showing signs of stabilizing. Today, I'll take you through this wild ride and break down the statistics from the month of December, then we'll cover the fourth quarter of the year, and we'll finish off by taking a look at the year as a whole. I'll give some of my opinions on where I see things headed in 2023, and hopefully by the end you will have a clearer picture of how the real estate market in Metro-Birmingham, Alabama looks currently. Let's begin by looking at December statistics and find out what buyers and sellers might have to celebrate here in the new year. Here's a reason for sellers to be happy, as the average sale price rose 5% from November to $400,914. Buyers, you got a gift too, as average days on market rose to 26. That's a gift because the pace of the market is continuing to slow some, which gives you a little more time to shop for that home you want. From an activity standpoint, total number of homes sold rose 5% from November levels. I think this is an effect of the slightly lower interest rates that have been available over the past 2 months. Lastly, the number of homes available for sale dropped 7%. Even though this drop occurred, there have still been significant gains in this category this fall. As of the first week of January, there are about 6,500 homes available for sale in the Metro-Birmingham areas that I serve. This is a significant increase over the drastically low levels that we experienced this past spring. So buyers, the increased number of homes to choose from should make you happy. Now let's review the stats from the fourth quarter of the year. We'll look at the same categories and look at how things shaped up comparing the fourth quarter of 2022 to the fourth quarter of 2021. Average sale price was $386,394 in the last 3 months of this year. This is up 8% from the same time period last year. So although sale prices have dropped since their peak in May, values are continuing to remain steady after the initial drop. Average days on market has experienced a significant change since this time last year. For the fourth quarter of 2022, average days on market has risen 36% when compared to the fourth quarter of 2021. The average days on market for the fourth quarter of the year was 22. Lastly, let's talk about total number of homes sold in the fourth quarter of 2022 compared to 2021. 2,256 homes were sold in the fourth quarter of 2022 in the areas that I primarily work in. This number is down 32% from the fourth quarter of 2021. This is the most obvious sign that the temperature of the market is cooling, and it's giving buyers a little more breathing room while shopping for a home, since inventory levels have significantly increased. Now let's take a look at 2022 as a whole, using line graphs that I've prepared to give a good visual of the trends throughout the year. The first graph that we'll look at is average sale price. Looking at this graph from left to right, you can see how the prices behaved through the course of the year. January through May was a steady upward trend. The prices peaked in May and interest rates began going up sharply at this point. The first big drop in sale prices occurred during the month of July, which is when the interest rates were sitting at their first high peak of the year. As the interest rates settled, prices rebounded through late summer and leveled out somewhat, and found a stable range through the rest of the year in the high 300s. Surprisingly, there was an increase in December. I was expecting more of a flat line here, But when you look at this chart as a whole, I think it is very encouraging to see how well the home values have held up even as demand for homes has dropped. Through this tumultuous year, values are still well ahead of where they were in January of this past year. Now let's look at average days on market. The average days on market has steadily risen since it hit its low point in May. We've gone from an average of 10 days on market to a current monthly average of 22 days on market. This number has steadily increased since interest rates started rising and number of homes sold started decreasing, naturally building the inventory. This increase in inventory is great for buyers because it gives more choices in the marketplace and maybe some negotiating power with sellers. But if you are buying a home in this market, be sure to take a careful look at the asking price of the property before you get too crazy going after a price discount from sellers, since prices have held up reasonably well through the fall of this year. There are many ways other than a list price discount to save money when buying a home, and I can help you discover those as we prepare an offer. For home sellers watching this video, your main takeaway from this graph is that you need to expect a longer marketing time for your home. If you are able to get a contract in under a month, consider that a win. The next statistic that I want to discuss is total number of homes sold throughout the year of 2022. As you can see, that number has steadily declined through the latter half of this year, up until December when it inched up just a little bit. This number and the path of the lines on this graph are usually going to behave inversely to mortgage interest rate behavior and on a 30 to 60 day lag. So as interest rates climbed and were unsettled during late summer and fall, total number of homes sold dropped. It was in late October and early November that interest rates made a big improvement downward, which I believe produced a slight uptick in number of homes sold during December. The last of my single line graphs will illustrate the behavior of number of homes available for sale through the course of the year. As you can see, it's been a steady climb throughout the year. This is good news whether you are a buyer or a seller, because good inventory levels are needed in order for us to have a healthy market. The positive for buyers, obviously, is more to choose from. And for sellers, you really just want to be aware that it is a more competitive market from an inventory standpoint. So do your best to have your home in the best condition possible and price it right when putting it on the market for sale. Now, let's compare the 2022 real estate market to what things looked like in 2021. Comparing the two most recent years will give a great picture of the highs and lows that we've experienced over the past 18 to 24 months. We'll start by comparing the average sale prices, then look at average days on market, and finish by looking at total number of homes sold. Each chart will show numbers from each of the 4 quarters of the year. The orange line in the graphs represents 2022, and the blue line represents 2021. Let's get started by looking at average sale price. Everyone that I talk to wants to know about prices. Lately, the most common question involves someone asking how much prices have dropped and how much I think they will drop in the future. This graph answers that question. As you can see, prices are still up on a year-over-year and quarter-over-quarter basis. Even though we had a year of highs and lows, the average sale price is still almost $27,000 ahead of where it was in January of 2022, and it's $31,000 ahead of where it was in the 4th quarter of 2021. From the sales price peak in May to the end of December, prices have dropped a total of 7%. That's about 1% per month. And if you remember the monthly comparison that we looked at earlier, the average sale price is showing signs of stabilizing in the area that it is in now. So from a monetary value standpoint, the market is in good shape and still ahead of where it was throughout the entire year of 2021. One of the biggest shifts of the 4th quarter was average days on market. This chart shows just how much this stat changed in the 4th quarter of 2022. As expected, this number rose sharply due to a lack of buyer confidence because of the unstable mortgage interest rates. I expect the average days on market to stay in the 20s range during the first quarter of 2023. This is by no means a bad thing. It's just another sign that the market is returning to more of a normal state. If you were going to be putting your house on the market, I would prepare for it to take 30 to 45 days to get a contract. If you get one quicker than that, you can feel really good about what you have accomplished. And if it takes a little longer, don't get discouraged. Just remember that the market is much different than it was this past spring. Finishing off our comparison of 2022 and 2021, let's look at number of homes sold. This stat illustrates the demand in the marketplace and influences every other factor to some degree. As you can see, the number of homes sold dropped significantly in the fourth quarter of 2022. This is not a shocking development to me, as the unstable market conditions through the latter half of 2022 practically guaranteed that fewer homes would be sold. I am surprised that it dropped as much as it did, and honestly expected that the number for the fourth quarter would have been closer to 2,900 rather than the 2,256 total that was produced. This stat is what produces the opportunity for buyers, though, since this shows that less competition is in the marketplace. So buyers, even though sale prices haven't dropped dramatically, demand has dropped, meaning that there are fewer buyers for you to have to compete against while there are more homes to choose from. In conclusion, I feel good about where the real estate market here in Metro-Birmingham, Alabama currently sits. All of the changes that we have seen through 2022 are changes that had to happen. There is no way that the market could sustain the levels that we saw in 2021 and the first half of 2022. However, I still don't see a crash coming our way, nor do I see the bottom falling out of the prices in the near future. I think that most of the major corrections have occurred, and while we may see some downward adjustments in the first quarter of 2023, I think that things will settle in somewhere close to the current levels that we are seeing right now. With mortgage interest rates fluctuating in the high 5% to low 6% range, I think the market will be an active one in the springtime months of 2023 if the interest rates hold in this range. I think that demand will rebound some as the buyers who came out of the market when interest rates spiked upward this past fall re-enter the marketplace. If inventory levels continue to build as they have been doing, I foresee a much healthier marketplace in the spring of 2023 than we saw in the spring of 2022. That is something for everyone to be excited about. So don't be apprehensive about making plans to buy or sell a home this year. Just make sure you are educated about the most current market trends that are happening. The market will provide opportunities for success for both buyers and sellers. If you do have plans to buy or sell this year, contact me and let's make a plan to help you achieve that goal. Thank you for watching my market recap video. I hope it has provided you with some useful information. I'm Mike Hewin with RE/MAX Advantage, and I want to help you with your real estate needs. So let me know how I can serve you.